Big thank you to Squarespace for sponsoring this video. As you might know, if you watch the channel regularly, I've been working on a project in New Jersey photographing the idea of home and just going back and revisiting places that I remember from when I grew up there. I think this is my first serious photo project. I do eventually want to make it into a book or a zine of some kind, just a publication. It's been a really fun project to work on, and last week I was down the shore again in Wildwood, New Jersey, with the intention of just spending 3 days there with a friend to make more photos for that project and just have fun as well. It was an awesome trip, and today I want to share those photos and share my process behind making them. Over the next couple months and probably in the next year, this will probably be a big part of this channel as I continue to develop that project and shoot more for it. I think it'll be really cool to have like an ongoing documentation of the shooting of that project, but also the other things like editing the images, making a layout for the book, printing the book, all the logistics, the design, and just sharing every step of the process. I think that's really fun. But there will also obviously be other videos along the way as well. But anyway, as I mentioned, I spent 3 days in Wildwood working on that project this last week, and I want to share some of those photos and the process with you today. We rented a motel in Wildwood to stay in, obviously, and the moment we got there, we dropped our bags off, loaded the fridge up with Portra, and headed out on foot. I generally store my film in the fridge. I don't know if other people do this, but supposedly it helps to preserve it. I don't know if this is necessary at all. When photographing a location like this, I generally like to wait till later in the day, unless it's an overcast day. When you're working with the sun, just like the high noon sun really doesn't look that great in photos. So we waited till about 5 p.m., 6 p.m. to start shooting because the light just gets softer. And just the later that it gets in the day, the happier I always am with my photos. So I've just learned to be patient with that. Personally, I really love the colorful motels and all the colors that are in Wildwood. I obviously took a lot of photos like this because that's what you do in Wildwood. I personally really like this shot with the 2 chairs. I think the colors are just awesome. And that golden hour light is really what makes the photo here. If this was super harsh afternoon lighting, I think it just wouldn't feel the same. I was shooting all Portra 400 here. At one point I took a photo of the Caribbean motel, and I asked the front desk if I could go upstairs into this lounge area that I saw. It was a beautiful green color with like these vintage leopard chairs and seats, and I really liked the way that the light was coming in on the door specifically. As soon as the golden hour was over, we headed back to the motel, grabbed our tripods, and went out on foot once again. At this point, the tripod wasn't necessary yet. In theory, you could shoot this at a super low aperture, but I like shooting all my photos like this at f11 so that everything is in focus, and obviously you do need a tripod for that. I was using my Sekonic handheld meter, which is a really easy way to meter any strange lighting condition. And as the light gets lower, the photos get better again. And I really like the shot of this motel. And at nighttime, the purple and the warm colors really come out nicely. But I also was looking for different ways to photograph it, so I turned my camera around and instead photographed the reflection that it made in the window. And this was a really cool scene. I think it's pretty dynamic with that one light that's on upstairs. Probably one of my favorite shots from the trip. I'll definitely have a whole video soon coming about the technicalities and some tips on nighttime photography, but for now, enjoy some more photos. On day 2 of the trip, we walked around for most of the day without our cameras. We went location scouting, seeing what we wanted to photograph once the light was right. There were some really nice boats that were docked there that we photographed, and overall I really like these minimal beach scenes that we got to shoot. We walked around through some of the slightly more residential neighborhoods in Wildwood as well to photograph some houses, and this was really fun. Again, I'm trying to frame things in a way that's a little more unique than just front-on shots of houses. Personally, I really think this one of the yellow house was pretty successful with the way that it's framed between the trees. At this point in the day, some clouds kind of ruined the golden hour for us and the light was pretty much gone. So we decided to get back in the car, and we thought the day of making photos was over. But as we kept driving, there was this incredible sunset that we saw happening off in the distance, and we drove as close to the water as we could, and this was probably one of the most surreal sunsets that I've ever seen. The colors were so vivid, and the videos really don't do it justice, but I think the photos do, which is what's important here. Honestly, my filming pretty much went downhill at this point because I was so focused on making pictures. I really like this scene of the blue house, and if you follow me on Instagram, you'll have seen this picture already, but the sky really looked like it was exploding. As the sun set, we obviously kept photographing around this neighborhood. The third and final day of this trip started with us heading back to New York, and on the way there we stopped at Ocean City, which is about a half-hour drive from Wildwood, and we ended up coming across this scene of this house that was being built with these beautiful blossom trees in front of it. And this is a kind of photo that I've been looking to make for a while. For this project specifically, I've wanted to photograph an American suburban house being built for a while, and this couldn't have worked out better. The colors between the super blue sky, the trees, and the warm wooden colors of that house work really well to me. And this project that I've been making is almost entirely houses, so to have a photo of a house that's being built is pretty cool, I think. Not only does it say a lot for me, at least conceptually, but I think it's interesting that this is the way that suburban houses are built, and yeah, I like this photo a lot. I shot a whole roll of this scene, and I'm thankful I did because my favorite shot was towards the end of that roll. Sometimes when you find a scene that's really good, it's worth investing some film into it because it's cheaper to shoot a whole roll of it than it is to come back and do it again. That was the trip to Wildwood. There was like 23 rolls that I shot, and I'm incredibly happy with the photos. I think there's a lot here I want to save for the New Jersey project. I'm kind of struggling with the idea of what I should be sharing if I am making a book and what I should be keeping to myself, which is a pretty interesting debate to have. If you have any opinions on that, let me know in the comments. Go check out my friend Jimmy on Instagram because he'll have some photos coming from this trip as well. And finally, I want to thank Squarespace for sponsoring this video. Squarespace is an incredible website building platform that you can use to showcase your photography online. I've been using Squarespace for over 2 years, and their online templates make it so easy to build a unique looking website to showcase your photography. You can use the link in my description to get 14 days of Squarespace for free, and when you're ready to launch, go to squarespace.com/Willem for 10% off your first purchase of a website or a domain. Big thank you to them for sponsoring this video. I just want to say thank you for the support on that last video I did with Joe. It was really incredible reading all the comments on there, and I'm stoked that people enjoy those episodes because they do take a ton of time to make. I hope these New Jersey videos aren't getting boring at this point. I think I'll probably switch it up for the future, but it was really fun going out and making these pictures, so I hope you enjoyed it as well. My Instagram is @WillemVerb. You can check it out in the description. That's it for now. Peace.